Dog fans, welcome to Hunker Down, Impact Media's weekly drive right through the hedges into the world of the UGA Bulldogs. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. This is Jake Trash Panda Skinner, and gosh, what a nail biter over the
Yeah.
weekend.
And
Those Skyhawks were
here's our
just
mascot.
bringing it.
Yeah, they
Yep,
did. They brought it like the mascot. That's Kyoshi for everyone else out there.
yep.
She decided to make an appearance today. Yeah, Skyhawks, man, what a close game. That was nail biter.
It's I've seen the Skyhawks play live before through I believe they played Kennesaw when I saw them.
Hmm.
It could have also been Georgia State, but it doesn't matter. Skyhawks, they're actually a good squad. They're a good organization, a good school and everything. But yeah, we all know they're just getting the paycheck for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby treats these games like they're glorified practices. You'll see that in the next couple of weeks too, other than South Carolina. But by the way they play, that's still a practice game.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but I mean, these games are what they are. We said before they didn't actually, this wasn't 2, 3 years ago playing UT Martin. They were supposed to play what, Oklahoma, and because of the
Oklahoma.
SEC rule, the SEC said, well, you're going to play them next year. You can't play them this year. So they scrambled UT Martin to answer the bell. So I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate them doing that. At least it gave them a game on the schedule. They didn't have to
Yeah.
continue to scramble. But we'll start with your overall takeaways from this game.
So I got a hot take for you.
Okay.
Trust Kirby, people. I'm looking at y'all. Trust Kirby. The biggest thing I saw on Facebook all weekend was fire Bobo. It's like it's 2013 again. It's not 2013. Bobo's not the same guy. Bobo's got a five-star offensive line. He's got a quarterback. He's got backs. He's got receivers. He's got a defense that's not going to let someone score 35 a game on you. Okay. I mean, the game was fine. It was what it needed to be. It's a practice game. Kirby loves these games because it gives him a chance to tell those players, you're not as good as you thought you were. You listen to the media, you fell for the rat poison, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You got your butts handed to you for an entire half. Also,
Exactly.
Kirby uses these games to prove something to his team and to show them where their weakest points are. They weren't great, but they did what they had to do. It gives them some toughness and gives them adversity.
Yep, it definitely
So
does. And the good thing is you can get snaps not because of injuries, but you can get snaps to people down the depth chart to where if God forbid there is an injury down the road, you can say, well, that kid's already had 50 snaps this year. I feel good putting him in. And we got through
yeah,
3 quarterbacks. We got through, I don't know, probably 17 running backs and probably 24 wide receivers.
we wish we had 17 right now. Now
Yeah.
they got through 68 players total, offensive and defensively, and special teams. You got to see everything. You got to see both of the kickers out there for different reasons. I mean, for the sake of what you wanted, no, it was not what you wanted. Georgia fans can say that we wanted to be like Ole Miss and drop 70 on somebody, but there's a difference between the way Kirby does it and the way old Kiffin isn't afraid to show you his entire playbook every game all year. He's just going to be like, here's the playbook, have fun. I'm still going to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, he doesn't. Kirby, and that's nothing against him. I like the way he does it. I would be fine if he was our coordinator. But I'm saying there is a slight difference in the way they handle things. Kirby wants to show you he's got a deck of cards in front of him and he picks and pulls for which one. He's never going to give you the same play. Georgia was very defense wise. We were very vanilla all around. You, Georgia has done that the past 2 years, and this is what someone called a long con theory. And basically, you don't show anybody your hand. You wait and you make the moves when you have to. Georgia saves themselves to the big games.
Mm-hmm. Because guess what, folks? Most of you are smart fans. I would say all the people that listen to us are clearly smart fans.
I
They're not the
just,
people that are putting this stuff on the message boards. But yeah, that's a Nick Saban, that's an Alabama thing. Kirby gets part of it from him. Kirby's kind of wired that way too. He's only going to show you his hand when he has to. He's only going to show you how he made the elephant disappear when you need to know the elephant disappeared. I mean, that's
hmm
that's just how he plays.
exactly. Like I saw this post someone had, and like my favorite thing is I was watching it with some people, and they were this one guy kept going on and said, "There he goes, Bobo up the middle, Bobo up the middle, run, pass, run, pass." Todd Monken did the same thing. Georgia likes to run themselves into a brick wall because the harder you keep running that brick wall, at some point you're going to get through it. You're got the mental blocks, whatever you got. Georgia may have ran the ball at the middle, but Georgia, I mean, if I were to say that we ran the ball 30 times for 159 yards and 5.3 yards per carry, Are you going to be upset at that? That's 2 plays and you got a first down.
Yeah, it's hard to be upset by that. I mean, I don't
No.
care if it was 7 or 8 different people that ran the ball collectively. It's like, no, of your main backs, Kendall Milton, Robinson.
And by the way, Milton still hurt. He played with a hammy, and he was not 100%. All of them would tell you that.
Well, be hard to tell UT Martin that because he looked pretty dang healthy when he ran past them.
He did. He had some good plays, some chunk plays, chunk yards, excuse me. So, I mean, I think it was fun. I'm actually going to pull up the stats again because I didn't quite get a chance to look at all of them.
Milton was 9 carries for 53 yards with that
See,
37-yard burst.
Yeah, see, that wasn't bad. I was glad that we got to see Roderick Robinson, true freshman. Andrew Paul was 4 for 18. That's not bad. I mean, not great. Most of those yards came on one big run. Nothing to complain about, but I'll get to that in a minute. But the thing I like to look at is if you look at the passing, 26 of 40 for a grand total of 400 yards. Since when does Georgia throw the ball for 400 yards in a game?
Well, and most people will say, well, you had 3 quarterbacks in there. Well, 21 for 31, 296. That's an average of 2.5 a pass.
Yeah, 294. Yeah.
Yeah, 294, whatever. But that's nine and a half per pass for Carson Beck, who's your starter. So he was 6 yards shy of 300, and they put it in Vandegrift. So, a majority of it was right there, and Vandegrift and Stockton combined for another 100. Seems like you're good at the quarterback position.
They're good. A lot of people, Beck was definitely nervous. I actually had some notes on that when he's not. He just the biggest thing for him is the jitters. He was nervous. It's his first time as a starter. He was nervous. He calmed down. He had several untimely drops that were not his fault. Lovett, who's supposed to have had these great hands, I'm not saying he doesn't, but he might have been nervous. He got popped a few times as he went to go catch them. So he struggled. Beck was just trying too hard not to put the ball in danger because he knows that there's a leash.
Yeah.
But I can tell you he's got a bigger leash than I think he wants to than he realizes because I'm telling you now we're not playing Vandegrift unless we absolutely have to.
Right.
Stockton, our third stringer is technically our second string. We're just putting Vandegrift out there to look good, just so he feels okay.
Exactly. And I would say that too. I don't. It's kind of an SEC thing, but most of the time you see Georgia doing it, maybe because they get all the national spotlight. The receivers that when they don't have their hands on the ball like to tip the ball up and it ends up being an interception. You still got to work on that a little bit because a couple of these interceptions, even the defense dropped it a couple times too. You can't tip the pass up. If you can't catch it, knock it down.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of that one. They just struggle with some stuff. I mean, it is what it is. We're not gonna. It's game one. You're gonna get nervous. You're gonna have some jitters. They're just ready to hit somebody else. They got Ball State coming. It should be another game where we put 40 something up on a team. I think Georgia's fine. There's no point in stressing. If we get through the next few games and we only put up 20 points, time to stress. But Kirby, the running game, like the offensive line, Kirby ran. There was a mix of how he ran it, and basically, Georgia did not do great from a Yeah, so okay, here it is. This is what it was. Basically, Georgia kept running into the teeth. They basically played like up against our line because the whole point of these smaller schools is if they stop Georgia's run, they're not going to throw it. Georgia can throw it now. Problem is Kirby and them or Bobo kept trying to say, let's just go pound it into the middle of an 8-man box. You can't do that. That was dumb. And that call with the 2-minute drill call where we try to make it run a little quick run that should have been a touchdown. That was a dumb call. That was some dumb play call. Maybe he thought we were going to get it. But I think Georgia also a lot of the design runs that he called, Georgia ran a zone scheme for 18 and a gap for six times. Young running backs like a gap scheme. I couldn't tell you why, but I just know it's easier for them. They certain gaps that they run to, and they know which hole is going to be there. Zone, it could be anywhere, and the running back has to know it. You need a junior, senior back who knows what to do. We don't have that guy right now, and even Milton struggles with that skill.
Yeah, and that'll come as they play Ball State this week, as you said, as they get into the season. By the time they're getting their teeth sink into the meat of their schedule, all those people are going to have the reps. They're going to be doing good because like you said, it was very vanilla. They weren't going to show you a whole lot. I mean, we're talking so vanilla There was no cone. It was in like the oldest bowl you own. There might have been a couple sprinkles, but it's because they fell out of the cabinet when you got the bowl out. They were
Yeah,
not going to show anybody anything except for we can punch you in the mouth and we can throw it over your head.
yeah. Basically what it was. Georgia, when we go more 50-50 on zone versus gap, is when you see Georgia start going for 200 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
That time will come, but we face, like I said, we faced goal line fronts up all night. So Georgia was not going to. The offensive line's got some work to do. They got to get something going on. Maybe it takes a game sometimes for you to hit somebody. Georgia was just ready last year, and plus we had to go beat Oregon, who had a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we knew him, Georgia blew him out. Well, Georgia did the same stuff against Ball State. It just wasn't as pretty as that one. Why? Well, we're breaking in a new quarterback, an offensive line that's lost a few starters. A redshirt freshman's your left tackle. Not to say he's bad, right? He's one of the better guys we got. He's a first rounder. He's got first round talent, maybe high second round. But like we're breaking in stuff and we're vanilla. We're not going to open the books. And basically we can repeat ourselves all night, but it's a typical Kirby Smart. Let me just see what we got under the hood. Kirby
Exactly.
will he'll rev the engines when he needs to, and he revved them against TCU and showed everyone what he had. So we
Yep.
got time.
Exactly. And last few things we'll say about the offense before we dig into the defense just a minute, because defense had a pretty good game, and not just because they only allowed
Yes.
7 points, but I thought is it Mackay Muse? Is that how you say his first name?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Mackay.
I mean, 3 catches, 75 yards. One of them was 54 yards, but it seemed like when you need to rely on Muse, he was there. CJ Smith had a pretty good day. Rod
CJ Smith,
Thomas.
that's one I'm happy to see CJ finally
Mm-hmm.
get some love. CJ was a guy who came in. They said he's lightning fast, but he's got a lot of growing up to do. Like he
Mm-hmm.
just had to learn. He has been coming on strong. Raw, good to see him get a big play. Dylan Bell did okay. Lovett just didn't have his night. You know, I was just glad, like Anthony Evans, Zeed Haynes, glad to see those two guys get some love. Those two guys
And
are true.
actually, Oscar Delp had a pretty decent showing. He had a lot of good
Two for
blocks.
24. Yeah,
He had the 2 catches, and the catches were very timely. And when you need him, he was there. But it
oh
seemed
yeah.
like I kept seeing him blocking when he wasn't the focus of the play, and I was like, that's something you almost can't teach. Either you get a kid that wants to block or one that never will.
If you're gonna play at Georgia, you're gonna have to block. Otherwise, you're not getting the ball ever thrown your way. Kirby has scared off receivers before because he's told them you're gonna go block, and they said I don't block. Bye. So, Georgia was fine. I think we're in a good spot. Um, we got a lot of talent. They just got to gel. So this week you'll see probably a similar game. South Carolina, I think you'll see a different ball game team. But
Mm-hmm.
Georgia knows their first real challenge is going to be later in the year. Florida, like I said last time, I thought Florida could be something. Well, we all see that's a joke, hopefully. So Tennessee might be the first real game, one of the first real ones we play other than Auburn. So we got time. We'll see how it comes out. If we play games like that all year long and our defense plays good, Georgia shows up with a good record at the end of the year. I mean, that we're not great yet, but we're getting there.
And I don't quite want to call this guy the junior version of the pro player because the pro player is missing the opening night tonight. But Mr. Brock Bowers, he's unstoppable. He's like a cheat code in Madden. He's every
Hmm.
bit as good as you hear he is, and you watch him play. And not only that blocking aspect we just talked about, but he very much is Kelsey Jr. because when you pass him the ball, he's going to get 15, 20 yards every time he catches the ball. And it's going to take at least 2 or 3 defenders to even get him close to the ground.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. He's definitely someone who's your offense is going to go through him. And that's why we love him here. Like he's just too good. We got more guys coming like him, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a first round tight end. He should be the first one off the board next year, top 10 draft pick,
Yeah,
unless there's
top
just
10.
that many good defense. Yeah. If you're smart, you draft him. You just give him the ball. He's gonna make things happen. He got a rushing touchdown on an end around. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't teach this. He's just that good. He's an athlete playing tight end because of his size, and he's still learning how to play tight end and run routes. That's scary for anyone else out there. Is
Yeah,
he still learning?
he's still learning. If you had to put it in a 4 yard chunk, he's a sophomore into his professional career basically. He's
Yeah,
barely halfway into the things he wants to get into and the things he actually needs to learn. And that really is scary.
yeah. This team is full of dudes, and they got to figure themselves out. They're gonna learn where they are and who they are. It's not gonna happen overnight. You got to give them a little time.
Exactly. Let's jump into the defense a little bit. I want to get the. I'm not going to say it's negative because it had a lot to do with the style play and the way UT Martin was going to play it. But uh, Michael Williams gets the lone sack. I know more sacks are going to be coming. There are tons of people that
Yeah,
are capable of it. Just you'd figure against
yeah.
UT Martin, you'd get more than one.
Well, you think you would. Georgia Kirby doesn't care about the sacks as
Mm-mm.
much because it's a stat that yes looks great on a sheet, but Georgia sells kids on make disruption, get in the backfield, cause a play to break down.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get noticed. If you get to him, you get to him. If you don't, you don't. But I want you getting back there. That's all Georgia's after. Yeah, it was one lone sack. It was really his only tackle of the night, which yeah, you kind of see that. But Georgia was rotating him in and out all
Mm-hmm.
the time, trying to get the young guys a lot of practice. And the fact that they held UT Martin to what, 7,
Yep.
that you're good with that. Um, but I mean, it is what it is. Georgia's got a long ways to go on that one. They'll get the handle of it. And that whenever someone plays Georgia that's like that, like UT Martin, what are you going to do? You want to get the ball out as fast as you can because you know you
Right.
can't hold them. If they held
And
the ball like Alabama would or like South Carolina will, that maybe when they don't get the ball out as fast when they're trying to wait for plays to develop, they really are you're gonna see guys get back there more often. CJ Stroud can attest to that, and so can Max Dugan from last year or
mm-hmm.
Duggan. Both of them got hit quite a few times when there wasn't a running lane, and those guys got to them. So
Yeah.
it's nothing to stress over yet.
Yeah, and I mean I'll give it to I think it's Kincaid Dent is how you say his name, the UT Martin quarterback.
Yeah,
He was doing everything he could to take about and more normally if you're going to get the ball out quick, it's a 3-step drop and let it go. He was doing
yeah,
about a 1.5 and just trying to get it as fast as he could to whoever he thought was open. He
yeah,
had an okay night, but he knew that rush was coming. So I got to give some of the credit to him. But on the
yeah.
Georgia
That was a
side,
lot of that.
yeah, you had God, who had that interception? Kyron
Kyron
Jones
Jones, true freshman.
balled out.
Yeah, he's
That,
sorry that my ESPN decided to start playing music, and I'm like, that's not right. Thought that was you inserting. No, Kyron Jones had a great play, good tip, sees the ball. That's what you want to see a true freshman do. I was nervous that the quarterback, his first throw of the game, was going to tackle him. I'm like, dude, run, because I heard you're faster than this. But
Mhm.
he wasn't running full speed because he knew he had the angle, so he was good. We got to see a lot of guys out there like look at the stats like Malachi Starks led the team with 8 tackles. That's what you want to
Mhm.
see. I'd like to see my linebackers leading tackles, which means you're stopping them at the line. But you know, he did do fine.
Mhm.
Um, our safeties had more than anything else. We got to see Julian Humphrey out there, Ja'Cory Thomas, Troy Bowles. He got to good play. We got some freshmen out there getting some experience. Like that was this game, the next one, and I think in 2 weeks, whenever they play, whoever our UAB. UAB might be
Yeah.
more similar to it, but you're going to see like that's when you're going to see a lot of these freshmen play because they get 4 games a year. Georgia
Mhm.
may hold a lot of these guys until they get to a blowout situation. So you're going to see them play more. I think definitely South Carolina games when you're going to see our set guys that we trust the most to play, and when you
Yeah.
see them, you're going to know what's happening. You're going to know what we got really at that point because they're going to be in the game at all times.
Right. And I mean to go back to our analogy about it being vanilla, uh very vanilla against UT Martin, Ball State. Like I said, you might get a little whipped cream and a cherry on it. You're not going to see much more than you did this week. Like you said, they're going to beef it up for South Carolina because, for one, that's an SEC game, and two, they don't let little brother get anywhere close to them. And South Carolina's little brother to them, and they know it. UAB, you may see them dial back a little bit and not be as heavy as they were South Carolina, but once they get into the next quarter of their schedule, it's going to pick up and pick up in a hurry.
Yeah, it absolutely will. They'll be in a good place. It's just gonna be a while to go from. Yeah, so they got a long way to go. It's a long season. They'll definitely figure out. They'll definitely figure out who they are and what they have. Nothing worth stressing over. I think they. I think it'll just be a good game overall. I think Georgia's. If we want to go ahead and jump into it, but I got a feeling that Georgia will probably win this one. I'd say around 48-7, 50. Maybe if we get happy, I'd be happy if we drop a 50 burger on them.
On Ball State, yeah,
Like,
I could
but we
see
may
that.
not because Kirby's. Yeah. Yeah, they're saying over under is 52 points in the game with Georgia winning by 42, so they're saying 42-10. I think Georgia
Yeah.
goes another 48 with Woodring getting a couple more kicks.
Yeah, I could see that. Normally, I tell people if the spread is that big, even on a team like Georgia, take the under. But that's probably pretty accurate as to what's probably
Hmm.
going to happen. And that's not the personal Ball State. It's just the types of kids you get for Georgia and the types of kids that Ball State are going to get right now at this particular. You're talking about the number one team in the country coming off back-to-back championships, and you're talking about a team battling to try to win their conference. So
Yeah.
when you compare those two, it just is what it is. And Ball State is just not going to have all the 5 stars and 4 stars that Georgia is. So it's an uphill battle. Maybe I'm going to give them credit and say they score 10 plus points. I think they'll score 10 or more, but I don't think, probably not much more than that. 11, 14, somewhere in there.
I'll tell you, Georgia scores at least 14
No, I mean, I'm talking
easily.
about, I'm talking about
Probably in the
Ball
first
State.
quarter. I know Ball State. I'll give them 10 at most.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you see them do. I mean, they did get beat by Kentucky. Kentucky looked real good in that game. They look like a good team. I mean, they lost 44-14 to Kentucky.
Mhm.
So, and Kentucky's got a defense, but they're not, as they showed Georgia last year, they do have a team, but Georgia also was playing sloppy. And I think that was a cold and rainy game too. So, uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine. I think we'll see 48-10 probably by the end of it. I'd be happy with that. We see Beck throw it for 300 more. As long as we don't turn the ball over and we're careful and Beck gets more comfortable. If I would love it if that first drive you see him just start slinging it, hitting guys on quick posts and slants, getting the ball out of the backfield, break a couple of runs. Just that first drive, just take it to them and just show, hey, this is going to be a long game for you.
Right. And good news, Dog fans, it'll be a lot easier to try to watch this. It is on SEC Network, not on SEC Plus, which I did not know was a thing until last week.
Yeah.
Noon kickoff, so you're going to have to wake up a little early on Saturdays there, Dog fans. I hear you. It's a travesty to get up that early on a Saturday. I agree. I will be up early for something different, but I will be catching part of this game too. SEC Network. If you get a chance to go between the hedges, these are always good games to go to because they're probably slightly less expensive and probably not quite
Hmm.
as populated.
Yeah, Vivid Seats actually has the 300 row, which is not bad at all. 2 tickets for $20 against Ball State. So
Hmm.
you can, yeah, if I really wanted my family to go to this game, this would be the game to go to. It's just too
Mm-hmm.
hot. You could get, yeah, like I'm sitting here looking at this going, dang, I need to go. It's just, yeah, it's a long day. I love going to Athens. I really want to catch a game, but it just, by the time you get through with it, it ain't worth it this year. I'll watch them on TV for this one. I'm ready. I'm at the point in life where I want to see them play the bigger games, but I don't feel like dropping. I don't feel like spending $381 to go see them play Tennessee. In Tennessee either.
Man, maybe we'll get some sponsors to help us out with that and send us to one of these
We need that.
games because
Yeah,
I will happily wear whatever you guys want me to if you're sending us to one of these games.
fair enough. Yeah, I'll let you do that. I'll let you take that one for the team.
Yeah, I have no problem with that, and I think you know that too.
Yeah.
And side note for everybody that is watching, we do technically have a third host of this show. You'll see Kyoshi walking around, as mentioned earlier on. She's about 2 appearances away from me
There
actually
she is.
having. Now she's 1 appearance away from me actually having to pay her to be on the show. So, and she just heard me. I saw her turn around. So I might as well just pay her now. So we'll have to just
Yeah.
have her people talk to the show, and we'll figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, she likes the treats from Aldi, especially. Wet food's always a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that game overall. I think the next game's gonna be good. Um, yeah, I mean, just looking forward to the week. I think it's gonna be fun. Just it
Yeah.
is what we consider. We can we're still looking at it should be blowout. It's gonna be tough for the fans out there
Hmm.
to sit there and go, oh come on, it's 2013 over again. It's Bobo this, Bobo that. Give him a chance. Give him some
Hmm.
time. He just needs a few more games to settle in. And he was brought on last year for one reason alone, to learn the offense, to learn how to coach under Monken. Kirby knew Monken was going to go. Monken was ready to leave, and Monken did not make that team happy. That's he didn't fit. We're glad he didn't fit because the sense is he made them better, but these players like Bobo more. He fits in with the staff, so I think they're in a great spot. And Bobo has called plenty of good games. His team in 2014 scored over 40 a game. And that was with Murray and a bunch of 3-star receivers and a 3-star offensive line. So, he had Todd Gurley, Michelle, and no, he didn't have him in 14 and 15, but he had him in 14
Hmm.
because we brought in I can't remember his name, and I don't even want Schottenheimer that
Yeah.
last year, and that thank you for hiring him because I got rid of Rick and I loved Rick, but yeah, Bobo knows what he's doing. People, he's
Hmm.
got an offense around him. He's not going to show his full hand, and Kirby's not going to put his hands in the mess and mess with things unless he sees something going on. When they're ready to open up the playbook, they'll open it up. They'll change the blocking scheme to that's something that's better. You'll see them body people at some point. These kids
Hmm.
just needed to go out and get hit in the mouth a few times.
Yeah, I know some Dog fans were a little worried that you're actually in a virtual tie for second place in the SEC East at the moment, but that is because if you'll look at the stats, Vanderbilt has played 2 games, so they're 2-0, and good for Vanderbilt to be 2 and
Yeah,
0.
good for
That's
Vandy.
that's just going to look better later in the year when other people beat them. But hey, it's always good when the so-called smart school wins some games too. But the SEC is loaded. We know that teams talented on all fields, on sheets of ice, on any kind of playing surface you can. Plus, in the classroom,
Hmm.
you can call Vandy the smart school, but their numbers aren't that far from UGA.
They're not, yeah, so not to get the season started. They always are a little bit difficult. They play Georgia harder, but I mean, is I think this is their second year under the new coach, so he's got them looking up.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing some good things up there in Vandy. But I'll tell you, I'm ready to see this weekend. I think that Texas Alabama game is going to be fun.
Absolutely. And for people who are wondering, they beat Alabama A&M last week, 47-13. Go Vandy. And they had a narrow victory over Hawaii in the week 0, I guess, 35-28. I need to go back and watch that game. I like watching Hawaii games. I bet that was a good game.
I love watching Hawaii games, especially when Georgia wears black against them. That
Yeah.
that was fun. No,
Well, especially
oh,
especially all that's happened in Hawaii recently. Thoughts,
yeah,
prayers out there to them. I want them to just continue to do great things. So I wouldn't mind seeing Hawaii maybe in one of
it's
those New
I
Year's
love seeing
bowls,
them
but
pop
they
up.
probably won't.
Yeah, I like seeing them pop up every now and then.
Hmm.
Have that high flying offense that they had at one point. That was fun to watch. The Colt Brennan offense. Those are some good times and good memories. But yeah, I like seeing Hawaii do good every now and then.
Yeah. But back to UGA, anything big happen on the campus or off the campus this week?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had another arrest. Former UGA player and
Oh,
staffer Jarvis Jones got arrested,
yeah.
speeding and a little bit of a DUI. So Kirby said is handled internally. Doubt we see his face on the sideline much for the next few weeks.
Yeah, he will either
Um,
be in a booth or potentially in the locker room because that's the way
yeah,
Kirby handles that.
if he's even there.
Hmm.
Um, I will say that Lad McConkey and Dyson Edwards both we should get some reps from them on the game. McConkey's got a back issue. That's one of those weird ones where it's fine one day, it's not the next, but he goes and loosens it out. It's great, but then it tightens up. So they're just trying to get him back, but we don't need him right now. He's a difference maker when he's on the field because he gets separation. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine. Outside of that, Georgia did make an offer this week for recruiting wise to a Malcolm Ziegler.
Mm.
He's he's committed to UNC right now, is where he's from, but he's a safety. Apparently, Muschamp's really in on him, and they're shifting their focus to him because I think him and KJ Bolden are like one are the two that they're after, and KJ's committed to Florida State. They a lot paid him a lot of money to come down there. I heard so. Hey, good for him. I
Yep.
understand it, but I don't sit here and bash these kids for trying to make a dime. But I like what Kirby says is it's not about how much you're making up front. It's about the long term
Hmm.
and will he make enough. So if we don't land him, I think Georgia's got one that they're looking at. It may not flip, but for what I've seen on his tape, very athletic. They like him, and I mean, if Georgia's coming to you and says you can play in our secondary at this point, that or linebacker, why would you not consider it, even over where you're looking at going?
Exactly. And Kirby, if you want to make another return visit out here to the West Georgia area, where we both currently sit, there's probably 7 or 8 different schools that would gladly let you meet any safety you want, and you probably couldn't go wrong with them.
Yeah, it depends on which ones you're talking to out here. But yeah, I mean, if you're secondary, I mean, if he makes a phone call and says, I want you here, I'm sorry, but like I don't see why you wouldn't. You know,
Yeah,
if you go, yeah, there's gonna be some people in front of you, but that's what makes you better. A lot of kids just want that easy. Let's go play football. I want to start my freshman year. They're not ready. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but you never know what's going to happen. So,
exactly.
yeah,
But
that's about it. That's all that's happened
yeah,
with Georgia this week. I mean, other than I guess that I haven't heard too much on practice this week, but that's probably a good thing. That means Kirby's really putting the work to him.
yeah. Practice update. They practice this week. That's the practice update.
Yeah, that's really all it's going to be. I don't see. I've been sitting here searching the message boards, looking, and yeah, I honestly think that when you look at it in the prep work, I think everything Georgia's just they're ready to go hit somebody else. And I know when it comes to this Saturday, like you got to feel bad for Ball State ahead of time.
Yep.
It's
But it
it's gonna
is
be
what it is.
wild.
At one time Georgia was where Ball State is. So, you know, Ball State keep doing what you're doing, keep doing some good things, and maybe somewhere in the not so distant future, uh, you're playing Georgia with a number beside your name.
Yeah, right.
It's
So
possible.
yeah. Sorry, I was sitting here looking too. I was like just reading about some different stuff. They yeah, just everyone's just talking about different stuff that the yeah, just looking at all this different stuff. But yeah, it's I think Georgia's gonna be ready to go. I think they're gonna have I think they're gonna have some fun on Saturday. I'm just gonna sit down, watch it, and go about my day when the game's over. This might be one of those listen to the radio games.
Absolutely. You can't go wrong if you're listening to or watching a dog game. There's so many great people that are a part of those media things. But yeah, I guess that's going to wrap it up for us here on
Yeah.
Hunker Down. Uh, I'm Jeremy the Impact York. He's Jacob the Trash Panda Skinner. I guess I called you Jacob. It's probably the first time I've ever called you that. And of course, the star
Yeah,
of the
I'm not used
show
to that.
that you can see back there, Kyoshi, and she does accept gifts as well. Let us know where you're going to send those. But
Yeah.
I will let you do the sign off and give us a go dogs to get us out of here.
All right, everyone. Have a good week. Enjoy the Ball State game and go Dogs.